Hey everyone, Mr. Pace, thanks for stopping by. Well, we have a few days left in this election, and I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited. I haven't been this excited in a long time. I have had, I don't know how many people come up to me and shake my hand and thank me for running. I don't know how many people, I'm going to give you the numbers, have said they're glad that they voted for me and why they voted for me. And I'll tell you why they voted for me. Wasn't because I'm handsome, wasn't because I'm tall, wasn't because I have a head full of hair, or I still have a waistline. Those things are gone. Well, most of them. Okay. So that was a quick joke. Hope you caught it. And anyways, there are some things I think we need to clear up, some misnomers. I would like to do that right now, because to get that last minute vote out, I'm going to have to say some things that I want you to think about. One, being a political candidate means you have to make people happy, okay? And I want to do that. But what I want to do is fix the problems. It is a mathematical improbability, and I don't know why politicians don't say this, because I'm not one. I can't make every one of you happy, I'm sorry. I want to, I just can't do it. It's mathematically improbable that I can do that. But that's okay. Okay, but you don't like me. Okay, we can get around that, all right? Think about what you don't like about me. Look at the Clintons versus the Trumpers. Okay, the Trumpers are Pace, Ryder, Ringen, Stinson, and Vance. The incumbents are Lukens, who was not forgotten about. I don't know why you keep saying that. Okay, and you have St. James, Pitsey, and Porter. Okay, I always had a saying that you don't forget about anybody. I'm not running for 5 or 6 people's agenda. I'm running for 2,652 platted homeowners and as many as 7,000 residents. Somebody says, well, that's a lot of residents. Right, because everybody seems to have forgotten about the one reason why we're all here, or at least I am. You forgot about the kids. And they count. Every one of them count. See that pin? I've been wearing this pin for over a month, and everything I put on, if you've bothered to notice. This is child abuse prevention pin. For the children people forgot about, and I'm one of them who didn't forget. I'm getting a little excited because it's a big deal. Okay, so for those kids out there who don't think anybody's thinking about them, Mr. Pace is. I just want to throw that out there today. To the banker out there who made the claim about the $33 million worth of debt, this is an Internal Revenue Service form. It is an 8038G. $35,400,000, so you're about $2.4 million off your statement. Mr. Lovato, the issue over the bills, the water bills, I gotta make sure I get the right document for that. Okay. Okay, so if you take the bill, the original bill was just over $116. Today's bill is just basically $155.88. That's the one part you got right, Mr. Lovato. Here's the part you didn't get right. The bills didn't go up from $147. That's wrong. They went up from $116 when I got here in the mid-2000s, because I have one of the bills that I'm digging up out of the archives. The difference between now and then is $60.65 if you include the 7,500 gallons of water that we used to get in the bill, which they took away. Now you pay for all of it. So if we were to use that same 7,500 gallons, the bill would be $177.65. Go ahead and check the math. I did a bunch of times. Okay. I want to thank everybody on Nextdoor. You've come out and made this a really good race by coming out here and discussing things, even if you don't like me. So I want to go over that real quick. You don't have to like me to vote for me. And I want to say that again. Okay? And I want you to think about this when you're talking to your kids saying, what is he talking about? Trump's not well liked by a lot of people, but they still voted for him because he wasn't a politician. He wanted to fix the entire country and parts of the world, not just Trump's world. Okay? I don't want to fix Ron's house, Ron's property, Ron's backyard. I want to fix 2,652 platted homeowners plus all of our new guests, okay, or all of the people that are in this together. That's everybody. So that's why I say it's for the 7,000 people. That's an estimate. It's pretty close to that. But that also includes your children, because someone needs to look out for them, not only you. Why would you be doing that, Mr. Pace? I can take care of my own kids. You know, it's none of your business. I'm all that. Because it's all of our businesses, technically speaking. I don't care what you do in your house. That's all on you. But I want you to be able to do things with your kids and have the money to do it. And have the ability to do it. Right now, you don't. A lot of the information being put out there about what we can and can't do is wrong. This, according to my friend, who has won almost all of his court cases, and especially all the ones against Woodman Hills and their developers, says electioneering. And if he says this is electioneering, I don't care what Mrs. Pitsey tells anybody on a website or anybody else. When you go out of your way to debunk stuff that I put up, even though your information is accurate on your little section, what he said was kind of accurate, but what they didn't tell you in the audits, during the meetings, in tape conversations with the auditors, we do have unrestricted cash. I didn't say there was a pile of it. All I know is there is. And that money, if you look in the memorandum, shows it's unrestricted cash that they're putting down to do the infrastructure. And that's something I want to get into today. It's the most important thing you need to know about. And I want to thank Ms. Bliss for giving me that information and posting it on her website. Why do I keep saying 2,652 platted homeowners? Well, I'll tell you why. The original Woodman Hills was 1,180 acres. It's what you see around you, okay? And they were going to put certain things in here. The infrastructure was built up so it could accommodate those 2,652 platted homeowners. That's all the infrastructure we were ever meant to have. When we started taking on the added responsibility of taking care of all these other places like Falcon Vista, like Bentgrass, like, I'm not sure Courtyards applies, I'm fairly certain it is, but then I also, you want to talk about Four-Way Ranch and any other subdivision that we are now servicing. Those weren't part of the original infrastructure plan. See where I'm going? You got it. In order to give everybody else their water and wastewater, we have to hook up things that they need in order to get that job done. We have to build 2 new tanks, not because we need the tanks. We have to build the 2 new tanks because we've taken on the additional added responsibility of expanding the footprint of Woodman Hills. We have to service those customers now. We're legally required to, but we're also legally required to put in the infrastructure to service them on our dime. It wasn't done right. That's where people are misunderstanding me. That's the truth. They know it, I know it, the state knows it, the federal government knows it, the guy under the rock over by the district knows it. You just didn't know it. I think you understand, okay? We have a pipe that runs to Guthrie that only does 1,000 gallons a minute, according to what I was told, okay? That's from the state. So now we need to run a parallel line from Guthrie because we now have the need to get that water here so we can fill up those, you guessed it, the tanks. We need pipes to fill those tanks. We need a lot of things to do a lot of things, but it wasn't because of the decisions the original developer made. I want to make that clear. I don't have to throw Mr. Green under the bus. He's done that on his own by attacking me. What I will tell you now, that the decisions made from the time I got here in 06 to now forced this district and its residents to pay for infrastructure needs we were never set up to do in the first place. A bigger plant, more pipes, more tanks, more infrastructure. You see where I'm going? Not including the aged infrastructure we already have. Simple, isn't it? Really easy. And I just told you that. Let them go on the next door and refute all that. Okay? When we started adding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of customers, we had to have the infrastructure to be able to take on the additional added responsibility. Oh, what did you think? It was free? No. No. See, they didn't want to tell you. Lynn Bliss was the one that let the cat out of the bag. Thanks for doing that. I'll put the cat back in later. Well, maybe I'll just keep the cat. I don't have one. It'd be nice to have a pet. Anyway, or a puppy. Well, both. Okay, sorry, I had a moment. That's what I'm telling you. Those are the things they're hiding from you that help everybody here make an intelligent decision of what they're doing. The lack of transparency is so bad that even I, in just a cursory glance of those documents, I went, whoa! It's a whoa moment. We're negative $1.7 million. Not my numbers, their numbers. They didn't want you to know about the Clintons. So it's Pitsy, Porter, St. James, and Lukens. Not really too much Lukens because he's not on the board, but he is with them because Mrs. LePage, the person that works in that district office, basically said, we need you to do these things. Now, I want to go on to the issue in the office and the stuff that Mr. LePage is posting. To Jeremy LePage, okay, and all of the million of my fans out here, okay? Your wife did something, and I posted it, and she got angry because she got caught with her hand in a cookie jar. It's not really for you to get upset. You and her both make about $120,000 a year, and you're driving a brand new truck. And it's not for you to pull over, and it's not for you to open the door, it's not for you to get out and make it look like you're gonna fight me. That's not your job. Now, the criminal president and the rest of the board, the incumbents, think that's funny. I didn't think it was funny at all. But that is inappropriate behavior of an employee about even talking to me about signs. You violated no many policies, but we'll get into that later. What your wife did, as documented on this site, is she failed to credit my account for payments I made, then sent that information, gave it to Mrs. Peterson, who then sent it to the bankruptcy court, and they got caught with their hand in a cookie jar, not only double dipping, but filing a false report. That is a criminal act. And I posted that on my website. Why are you upset with me? Because your wife did something wrong. If my wife did something wrong, I'd ask her not to do it again. And you're upset with me because I record? I record for one reason. Because of all the backlash that I've had walking into that building over the years and the statements made, okay, by the employees in that office, I now protect myself. And let me ask you a question. How many of them now in the last several years have been able to run down and say something about me to a judge? None. Because they know I'm carrying a recorder. It's protection. So maybe if your wife wouldn't go out and make all those false statements about me, I wouldn't need the recorder. So we'll get it. That's all I have to say about that. Okay? Next. We have salaries that don't add up. We have a salary that we're paying out. It's a little over 60 grand a year. That's in the financials that doesn't add up to the fact that we had a vacancy for the position of director, and now the salaries never went down commensurate with the fact that we have an opening. It's a vacancy. It's a vacancy issue. If we paid $600,000 a year and we're not paying that 60 grand, the wages should have went down to 540. See where the math is? But it didn't. It went up. So see where we're going? Someone's getting paid for that position, and we don't have one because Corey Gabardella is what? That's right, a supervisor. She's made it clear. The interim director is Mrs. Peterson. Hence the reason why we said someone's getting paid. It's not my numbers, it's their numbers. And as vague as they tried to make it, they couldn't get away with it. Electioneering. I'll let Mr. Arnold handle this. The statements made by Mrs. Pitsy and the other people on Nextdoor are incorrect. This was an attempt to electioneer, okay? And it may be an attempt at express advocacy. I don't care what someone says on Nextdoor. I know what the expert says. The expert that wins in court all the time. Every time. See this? When it comes to Woodman Hills Matters. This is electioneering, and it was a timing issue. They went on here to refute my stuff, okay, and talk about things. Then, you got the big old thing here with Mrs. St. James. She knew this was going to happen. That's the kind of person she is. See where we're going? I don't have to badmouth anybody. It does itself. This sells itself. This is nothing more than electioneering. They're not supposed to do it. They spent $8,000 or about $8,000 on this newsletter, which wasn't supposed to be due out until June or July. Think about it. It's a quarterly newsletter, correct? Okay, how many quarters are there in a year? 3. There's 12 months. January, February, okay, sorry, 4. I apologize, 4. January, February, March, which was the Porter one. April, May, June, which would have been this one. Okay? So now this should have came out 4 times a year because it's quarterly. I apologize for that. And this should have not even come out now. I'm Mr. Pace. Last minute voting. Have any questions? Let's get things done. Let's fix this problem. Let's get some new fresh blood in there. Let's get rid of this, because this isn't working for us. And I want to work for you. All of you, all 2,652 platted homeowners, our special guests from Falcon Vista, the people over in the village at Falcon, the people over at Bentgrass, the people over at Metro Club, and even, for some things that people don't understand, may or may not be Four-Way Ranch. And that's a whole nother decision to make later on. I'm Mr. Pace. Sorry about the faux pas on the quarterly thing. My bad. But don't forget to vote. I'm in this for your family. I'm not in this for me. Let's give this district back to the people it belongs to, and do me a favor. A few million men that wore a uniform took a dirt nap so we could come out here and do all this. Let's not spit in their face and dishonor them. Please cast a vote. Thanks for stopping by.